Hey, what's up guys? Today I'd like to go over my build for my Stamina Nightblade. The build that I use in a Thieves Guild is a lot easier to acquire versus what I was using before the Thieves Guild. Since before the Thieves Guild I was using a Maelstrom Greatsword with the Bloodspawn helmet. This build, pretty much everything is craftable with the exception of the, as you say, well, 6 pieces. One piece is Kenna, the shoulder, and 2 pieces Likey, but that's pretty easy to acquire and pretty cheap in the guild store. And probably the most difficult part to build is the agility set, but if you've been playing this game for a while, you probably already have your agility jewelry, hopefully. So, let me go over the gear. I use 5 pieces Hunting's Rage. I use 1 piece Malakena. I use 2 pieces Lucky set, and the 3 pieces of the agility. For the enchantments, for the head, chest, and legs, I do the well, ideally I do the tri-stat. These legs here, I need to craft a new piece. This is for PvE, but for PvP, I use all impenetrable, and for the legs, I would have the tri-stat. Let's see. For the jewelry, it's all robust with weapon damage. Now, this changes depending on what campaign you're doing for PvP. So, if you're doing a 0-star, then for the jewelry, instead of having all 3 weapon damage, you'll do 2 of cost reduction, which I'm sure you notice I have a lot of rings. So I'll just swap these 2 out here, like so. And the reason you do this is it's a pretty big hit on your damage, but champion points make a huge difference in this game. Well, having 501 champion points makes a huge difference in this game. So when you go from 501 champion points to none, your resource management takes a huge hit, and that's why you have to make those adjustments. But if you don't play in a 0-star or a non-CP campaign, then this doesn't apply to you. So anyways, to continue with my enchantments, for my weapons, I use increased weapon damage for my greatsword, and for the bow, I do disease damage. For the traits, I do sharpened for the greatsword, and for the bow, I do precise. And the reason I do precise is because my bow has vigor, so I'm gonna try to make it so I have the highest possibility to crit as possible. That way, I can have a higher chance of getting crit heals. That's the reason I chose precise over sharpen for the bow. Other than that, ideally I want everything impenetrable for PvP. This is well fitted because my RNG sucks, and this is reinforced just because I need to make a new pair of pants. That's the only reason. Alright, so abilities. Abilities haven't changed. If you know my build for the most part, then this should all be familiar to you. I use Soul Harvest for the ultimate, Rally, Ambush, Relentless Focus, Mass Hysteria, Surprise Attack. Now, a lot of people ask why don't I use an Execute, and the reason being is because I use Relentless Focus a lot throughout the fights. I attack weave continuously. I'm always proccing it. It does a decent amount of damage, even if you are a stamina base. And if it's on my main bar, I pretty much always keep it active because I just weave it in my rotation. If I put it on my back bar and put an execute here instead, I rarely reactivate it. So that's an 8% loss. Now, I've compared the damage done with having relentless on my bar versus having executioner, and honestly, it's the same amount of hits. I've used against targets with like low health. I've used against targets with a great deal of health, and it's still the same amount of hits. So why use one over the other? Because this gives you 10% increase to stamina recovery. So the way I look at it is that either way, it's going to be about the same amount of damage, except you get to proc the Spectral Bow, which is a nice free burst of damage, and you get 10% more stamina recovery. So to me, I'd rather have this over an Executioner. But you can make alterations to your build as you feel comfortable to do so. Bow bar. This got an awesome buff. Now this ability hits a lot harder than it did previously because it scales with Mighty. and it works through damage shields, which is beautiful because all you do is hit your opponent with poison injection once, and then for 10 seconds they're taking ticks. And if they throw on a damage shield, it continues to do damage over time. And what's great is that if your opponent is below 50% health, this thing hits hard. The damage ticks they get enormous. Like you're talking about like around 5,000 like ticks of damage when you get around 25% health. It's insane. Um, and that still works with damage shields. So it's not like they throw in a damage shield and all of a sudden you no longer get that crit damage or that low health damage that you once did. So this is excellent to have your bar. I ditched Dark Cloak as soon as I heard about the Thieve skill changes. To me, it was an unreliable move. I only use it for the cleanse, and now that's gone. But I couldn't be happier that that's gone, because surprise attacks not surprise attacks, but siphoning attacks is phenomenal. It is amazing for your resource management. It's because of this move, I can do all three pieces with weapon damage for my jewelry rather than do cost reduction. But doesn't mean I don't have cost reduction. So let me go into my champion system. Alright, so for starters, let's look at the tower. I put 80 points into Warlord for 14%. This seemed to be the optimal amount to put in here because otherwise you're spending 20 extra points for 2 more percent. And it isn't worth it in my opinion. Let's see, I do 1 point into Magician just because when I got near the end here for what I was allowed to spend, I just kind of allocate 1 point here and there just because it's the most for your point per se. You get a full 1% for 1 point. So I put 44 in a Mooncalf, which gives me 14.1% increase in stamina recovery. 39 in Tumbling, just so I can get 10% reduction to dodge rolling and break free. 1 point in Befoul. This is actually pretty worth putting into, but if I had more champion points, I would definitely start putting more into Befoul. But since I don't, I'm a little more focused on resource management at the moment. Especially since that's the biggest issue for stamina builds is resource management. Alright, let's see. So, in the mage area, I got 1 on Blessed. This is one I'm still kind of indecisive between. I put 1 in Blessed, 23 in Shattering Blows. Might play around with it later. It's up to you. I mean, if you feel like you're not getting that much use out of Shattering Blows, then I would just reallocate a lot of points back into Blessed to increase your healing. So, that might change in the future. Right now I have 100 points into Mighty, 42 points into Piercing, and 1 point into Precise Strikes. I don't play a crit build. I don't like relying on crits, especially since they don't do anything for you for damage shields. And if you play PvP, the best players should be running with Impenetrable. So your crit damage won't be as effective. So I like more guaranteed damage. Alright, got 1 point of resistance. There used to be a lot more, but due to the changes in the champion system, I focus more on guaranteed, or consistent damage reduction. So I put 69 points into Hardy, just reduced the physical damage some. Physical damage was never really a big issue for me even before this, so that's why I'm not really a focus on Hardy so much. Magic has always been incredibly powerful and still is, and that's why I allocate the majority of those points into Elemental Defender. I got 1 point in crit recovery, and yeah, that's about it for the champion system. Alright, so what kind of drink or food buff did I use? Well, that's up to you. So let me go through the 3 options you can go with. You could always go with Lusty Argonian for PvP. It's great overall. Your health would be a little bit on the low side. It'd be around 20k if you're a Nord. Might be like slightly higher if you're Imperial. But the other option you can go with is this right here. The how do you pronounce it? The Orzagra's Trifle. Anyways, that thing. So this is a great alternative. It's great for survivability in PvP, and it gives you a buttload of stamina recovery. So that's phenomenal just for the purpose of survivability and being able to have good resource management. The one that I tend to favor though is Orzorga's Smoke Bear. That's the one that's like max health and you get the Tri-Stat regen on top of it. I like my health recovery. It definitely helps out being a Nord in PvP because it's like a natural heal over time. Um, Magic recovery is also pretty important. I find myself running out of magic a little too much when I go with this recipe, which is why I still like this one. And yeah, you do take a little bit of hit when it comes to your stamina recovery because this is 319 versus 457. So you're losing around like 140 points of stamina recovery. However, you don't really lose it due to the siphoning attacks. So let me show you an example. I'll use this. Let me burn my stamina some. You know what? There we go. So anyways, you'll see. Ah, come on. I need to fight like a mammoth or something to show you guys. But essentially, with that gold recipe and with siphoning attacks, your resources actually just increase as you're attacking because you gain so much stamina back. So you can get away with having the gold recipe versus the blue that gives you the nearly like the 457 stamina recovery. Am I gonna find a mammoth for you guys? Ooh, that looks promising. At least a giant. There we go. So let me burn through the stamina some. So, as you can tell, my stamina is not decreasing as I'm continuously attacking. It's either maintaining or increasing. So that's why you can get away with that gold recipe, because you're not going to be hurting from attacking with that recipe. What's going to hurt you is just primarily dodge rolling and breaking free, which is why I like to have at least 10% in my champion system. But anyways, guys, well, in case you're wondering, this is the outlaw motif I'm wearing for the chest, the helmet, and the sword. So that's pretty new. I figure I'd mention that in case you guys were wondering. But anyways, hope this video has been informing, and let me know if you have any questions. Hey, almost forgot something. I never showed you my stats. So anyways, my stats are going to look originally a little lower than what I had for the Maelstrom greatsword setup. That's because the Maelstrom gave you 189 weapon damage, whereas this set, I swap out the 189 for a 126. However, with the enchantment on my greatsword, it actually increases by an additional 174. So this actually has better damage output than what I had before with Maelstrom Greatsword. But, you know, let me just show you my stats so you know. So right now, my weapon damage is 3738. I got over 28k stamina. My health outside Citadel is 18,196. And this is with the gold food, by the way. Max Magicka is 10.8. My magic and health recovery is almost at a grand, just slightly below. Whereas my stamina recovery is 1572. On, let me buff. There we go, 1685. So that looks low, but with the siphoning attacks, you don't really need it higher than that, as I've shown you already. Spell and physical resistance, 12.4. However, when you attack with surprise attack, that goes up by 5.28. So you'll probably end up having around over 18k spell and physical resistance in combat. But anyways, let me show you some damage numbers since we have that now on the console. So, like so. And now I have the damage increase. Actually, let me see my stats. Oh, one more light attack. There you go, 3967. So in combat, that's what you'll be having for the majority of the time, almost 4k weapon damage. But anyways, let's see, any additional stats I should show you? I think that's about it. I mean, my weapon critical is 46.3%. The bow was stronger with this build because of the Lucky set. With the Maelstrom Greatsword, my bow wasn't getting too much love, so my heals are also stronger. And with the bow out, it's 34-26 with a crit chance of 56.3. But anyways, I figured I'd just throw this into the video real fast. I'm sure you guys would be curious to see it.